Started. My name's Janelle. This is our first morning tea talk for 2023. We're really excited to be back and we're energized, and I've got you all know Laura. She's with me again for this morning tea talk, and today we have an extra special guest from the PACOP team you haven't met before, and it's Elena. Elena, introduce yourself to the
Hi, my name's Elena Connolly and I am the statistician and data manager for PACOP, so I look after all things data.
Elena and Max is also here with us today. He's part of the PACOP team as well. He's our newest addition. Say hi, Max.
Hi.
Max will be an integral part as well in ongoing support, IT support in particular for aged care homes and those who are using our specifically designed software called palCentre that we're going to talk to you about today. So let's dive in, will we? Okay, so today we're talking about how palCentre, so our specially designed software, can work for you and your aged care home to deliver and measure quality care. So we're going to have a look at our IT strategy, and it was important. The government made it important to us when they were, initiating our grant, that we had a strategy to help aged care homes capture really important clinical information and then use that for continuous quality improvement. So that's our strategy there. We'll talk to you about what palCentre is, how it was developed, and really at the end of the day, what's in it for you? Like, why is palCentre good for you? So let's have it. And of course, how we support you in an ongoing way. So at the end, it's very exciting because we're going to release palCentre this week, and Alana and Max, who I just introduced you, and the whole PACOP team have been working so hard to test it and make sure it's going to be just right. So we're really excited to be able to give you a demonstration at the end and offer you any opportunities to ask any questions. So our IT strategy, basically, we had to have a dual approach because there are aged care organisations who use an IT system or vendor, like Telstra Health or iCare,
Care, Autumn Care, all the cares.
All the cares. Yeah, so we had to do two things. So Alana and her team had to develop really comprehensive IT specifications so that those large vendors can adopt them, and so that everything is the clinical information is being collected in the right way, and importantly, packaged up and delivered to PACOP so we can help homes do quality improvement in the right way. So that's really important. So homes can either choose to use those IT specs with their vendors, or homes who don't have that option or want to go with our option, these designed software that we've made called palCentre. That's the other option, where they can download this software and they're supported by the PACOP team. And we know, because we developed it, the information is collected in the right way at the right time, but also packaged. That's what's important, isn't it, Elena? That it's packaged up and sent to us in the right way, so we can help you improve.
And I think it's really important to note too, Janelle, like we've had a lot of information and feedback from our trial sites, from aged care homes using the software from our trial, from clinicians who have been working with us to develop the program. And so we really wanted to make a software that's going to be clinically useful for you. So there's a couple of things that we put in there.
And indeed, we are clinicians, Laura and myself, and we know that if you don't make a software program clinically useful, clinicians won't want to use it. So we've really worked hard to embed that with people like Alana. So it's been a really nice project, and we can't wait to show you. So do you want to take us through what is palCentre?
Yeah, so palCentre, it is a software platform that has actually been around for a while, so it's quite well tested. It's used by PACOP, and it was originally purpose-built for PACOP. In the past 6 months or so, we have modified it to include the entire PACOP data set. It allows a collection of clinical information about residents, the care they receive and the outcomes. Again, it's been built with these guys, so it's a very clinical system. I've come and asked lots and lots of questions, and they've been very patient answering my questions about how it needs to work clinicians. And it just promotes consistency in care, terminology, processes, and protocols.
It's definitely been a team effort.
Yeah,
the whole team.
It sure has. So the development of palCentre went through a journey, as Elena just pointed out. It's been a well-tested software package for PACOP, as you said. But we went through a journey with the PACOP wicking trial. You may have heard us talk about that before. That's how we developed PACOP eventually. So palCentre went along for the ride there as well. And then we received funding from the government to develop PACOP as its own outcomes centre for aged care. And so we really wanted to actually match palCentre specifically to the aged care sector. And that's what we've done over that time, working with the homes and working as clinicians and knowing what's useful. We've developed and been testing palCentre over 2022. And now we're finally here. So it's really exciting to be finally talking to you about palCentre. So Alana, please take us through these 4 important steps.
Okay, so again, we've done this with PACOP, so we have this process fairly well bedded down. The first step is that we will provide some information to you as clinicians about palCentre and what IT needs to do next. We will give you a document you can give to your IT, which will help facilitate that understanding of all the technical side of things that is happening. Once they're ready, they can come and contact us, and we can talk between your IT, the clinicians, and us about what sort of database platform is right to you. Don't worry too much about that wording. It's very technical. I understand it. Your IT will understand it. We can sort it out. Again, minimum operating systems, it's only XP or later. I would be very surprised if you don't have that. That part of it will be fine. And then once everything's ready to go, we've talked to your IT, then we start installing. We install your database, and then we install the client software on individual computers.
I know as clinicians, sometimes we read words like SQL Server, SQL Server, SQL Compact, and we're like, oh, I just want to care for my residents. And so that's been the beauty of the relationship between our IT team and us clinicians. We've been able to make wording and documents really user-friendly for all people involved. Yeah, thanks. So, like all of the PACOP program, we do not leave you. We don't just throw this software at you and go, okay, good luck with that. What do we do, Laura?
So we have worked really hard to develop a couple of different strategies to support you and your staff with training and education resources for palCentre use. And so we know in aged care, often it can be hard to release staff for training. So we will include that in our fundamentals workshops, which a lot of your clinical leads will come to. There will be a palCentre component. We'll have online resources, including user guides, user manuals, tip sheets. We'll have a little palCentre tip section in our newsletter that we do quarterly. There'll be online recorded training videos. So you may have seen our clinical bites that we use for in-services and for toolbox talks and things like that at a handover. We'll develop a series on palCentre for you to use as well. There'll be virtual training sessions offered by the improvement facilitators like myself, where we can do some virtual training, share our screens, talk your teams through it. And then, of course, we've got our amazing PACOP team who's here to support you on the phone or email or virtually.
And that'll be Max, who waved to you before. Max has been specifically employed. One of his key roles will be supporting the homes in their ongoing use of palCentre. So you'll see his face maybe popping up in training videos as well. And you'll hear his voice on the phone. So you are well supported moving forward. So the benefits. And as we said at the start, Laura and I as clinicians, Alana can embed benefits that is going to make it efficient and easy to use. But we also wanted to make it clinically useful and clinically meaningful. So the benefits of palCentre is that it ensures no resident falls through the gaps, in that we have embedded reminders within palCentre when an assessment is due. For example, that resident of the day or the routine 3-monthly assessment in the profile collection, there are reminders that will pop up to let you know, okay, it's due in 2 weeks, it's time to get ready, or it's overdue. So you can really keep track of those residents. What else does it do, Laura?
Oh, so many things. So really it's all of those clinical prompts. So if you've got staff coming back, and we'll take you through this in the demonstration as well, perhaps that would be easier, Janelle.
Yeah,
we'll do the demonstration soon, because we know you're so keen to jump in. But these are some of the things. So we use it for triage, for tracking symptoms, handovers, when you've got staff coming back from leave, when you've got palliative care clinicians coming in and doing palliative care rounds or needs rounds. all of these amazing things for evidencing quality improvement, for your quality improvement cycles. When the standards of care expanded to include care end of life, this will be great evidence for the framework that you're using to assess residents and respond to their needs. So there's a lot of benefits at a service level as well as a resident level.
And it'll really help you easily identify trends in a single resident. Also at the start of shift, you can look at, and we'll show you in the demonstration, you can look at your whole home, and really, as you mentioned, Laura, triage is so important. And finally, the way the data is extracted and ends up with Elena, that, it's de-identified before we receive it, of course, and that's why it's important to have the right system so the data comes to us in the right way. But then Elena gets that data. What do you do then, Elena? You manipulate it and...
So basically to get it out of PACOP is actually really easy. It's like one click and then you send it to us, which is wonderful. From there, what we will do is we will take that data, we will feed it into our data management system, and then we'll build reports to give back to you. So that then you'll see over your 6-month period, what's changed in your service, what's happening, and our improvement facilitators can then go back out and help you in your quality improvement cycle.
And it's actually, isn't it, about like you can't fix what you don't know. That's what we're always saying. So we're making homes aware of the care they're giving and areas that might need a little bit of help. And so it embeds that continuous quality improvement every 6 months. And that's what PACOP and our IT steps will allow homes to do. So you know what, without further ado, let's have a look at PACOP. So thanks for being around for this section. We do have a morning tea talk before we go into the demo. What's our next one on, Laura?
Yep. So the next one is we're going to stick with Tuesday again, mixing things up in 2023, living dangerously. Yep. We're going to meet on the last day of February, which is a Tuesday, and we're going to be talking about how PACOP can support you with the aged care star ratings. So we know that they're a hot topic at the moment in aged care. So we're going to help unpack that a little bit and chat about how PACOP can help.
We do like to dive into a hot topic, and there's of course our contact details if you want to contact us, but I'm going to exit from there now and show you, hopefully you're all looking at palCentre. Can someone give me a wave if that is correct? You're all
wonderful.
Seeing it? Yes, okay, I can see a hand. Excellent, thanks Nat. So this is a view of palCentre once you've logged in, and what you'll see at a first glance, this is obviously a test version, and none of these residents are real. These are our test residents. But what you'll see at a glance is your entire aged care home active residents, although all residents will be listed here. But at a glance, you can come in, log in, and see every resident that's in your home. The wonderful thing about this is that you can, and these are the kind of tips that you'll get in our newsletters and things that we'll share with you. But immediately you can click on the bold headings and you can sort according, you'll see a lot of test residents there. You can sort by date of birth. If you're looking for a resident, sort by their status, and you'll learn more about status a little bit later. And on this page as well, you can easily search for residents using our search functions. And here is where you will add any new residents, or you'll kind of admit existing residents into the PACOP program here. And it's a very simple, click on that screen, fill out the components, and you've added your resident. So if I come in the morning and I think, oh, I'm starting my shift, I want to have a look at my residents and see who's on leave, I can immediately click on status and find any people that are on leave. But I want to take you through a few other things. You'll see headings up the top. These are different pages, if you like, on palCentre. But let's have a look at a resident. So here's Maria. Let's look at Maria Flores. She's one of our PACOP residents. Along these icons, you can see, you can hover over them and they tell you what you're looking at. So the first one was their status, and their status purely relates to, it's a way that you can identify where a resident's at in their care journey. So it identifies when they go on leave, and that might be hospital or other sort of leave. It identifies what collection they're in, profile or outcomes. It also talks about whether they've been discharged or whether they have died. So that's the example of some of the statuses. And obviously a resident will need a status all the way through. This is an important one where you can add assessments for any resident. And then these are the edit, delete buttons as you would normally see in software. So if we look at Maria and I go to her assessments page, you just click on the icon, it takes you straight to Maria's. So if you saw Maria yesterday and you were worried about her, you can immediately see what her most recent assessments were. And so I can see her whole journey. So they go in reverse chronological order. So the most recent assessment will be closest over here. And so you can see Maria had a profile assessment when she was entered into the home. She deteriorated and then was entered into the outcomes. She needed palliative care. So if I did want to look at a report and actually maybe I'm still worried about Maria, I should be with scores like this, I can click view report, just move it over. So hopefully you can see this. This is an example of Maria's. Let's say I wanted to fax this or email it to the GP who's looking after Maria. I've got an immediate record, if I scroll down, of her latest assessments. You can see I did them all in a row this morning. But the point is, it's her assessments in reverse chronological order, and you can see immediately her scores, the issues that are happening for this resident. And you can elaborate, and you can use this for a really good handover tool to the GP. And she's been noted, she's in an unstable phase and she needs care. So that's really going to facilitate that. The other thing, and here, of course, is where I can add another assessment for Maria. Now, all of these are available because Maria is in the outcomes collection. But if she was just in the if your home only did the profile collection, only the profile assessments would be available here to click on. So let's go back to the main residence page because there's a really cool thing in this second tab called the reports tab. Let's have a look. So I love this tab. What about you, Laura? Like,
oh, this is probably my favorite.
Yeah. For me, this is okay. I've started my shift in the morning and I'm in charge of this care home as the RN. I want to know, who do I need to see first? And this is the page. So this is a report of the whole, every resident in the home. If I scroll down, obviously there's a lot of grey areas here because this is our test site, but all of these grey areas would be complete. But what you can see here, again, using these tabs, you can sort to look at, okay, I want to look at the most recent assessment. I might want to see every resident who's in an unstable phase because I want to see them first. So this is where Laura mentioned about the triage component can really come into it. I might want to just start with everyone in the outcomes collection because they're the ones receiving more intensive palliative care. Yeah. But importantly, I may want to look at everyone who has the worst pain. So you can, this is involving the SAS problem severity score, you can select the symptom you want to look at first, and generally it's pain, isn't it, if we're going to be honest. So you can click on pain and it sorts the highest score to lowest score in those areas, and then I can either look at each individual resident by viewing their individual report over here, or once I've sorted this page to the way I want to view it, if I click on print report there, it will print out a whole organisation report, and you can take that to your handover meeting ready to say, okay, we're going to look at, today we're going to see Maria first, Eric and Jane, for example. So you can really drill down and triage that care. The other key things on here are the reminders I mentioned to help so that no resident falls through the gaps. So you can see here, Twin, our resident is due for their 3 monthly profile, so no one misses out, so you can keep a track on people. There's a icon here if that resident in the last 24 hours has had a deteriorating resident tool, so that's for people in the profile in between those 3 months when you're concerned. And that really helps you go, well, okay, they might be in trouble. What do I need to do for them? And they've had a tick for a yes for palliative care.
And I think the beauty of this too, Janelle, is it's also about how you're going to use PACOP in your home. So if you're you know, if you do a deteriorating resident tool on someone who's had a fall or something like that, all of those staffs, it's going to be flagged as soon as they come in and say they've been off for the weekend and they look at, oh, who's had a deteriorating resident tool, right? Well, they know that those residents are having a closer eye kept on them. They know to go and follow up, especially when we think about the context of us being developed through a global pandemic. And the deteriorating resident tool being specifically developed at the request of our sites, that's just gold for them to help inform care.
It is solid gold. And look, here's, I've just not printed, but I've said print report up here on this purple button. And then this is an example of, obviously this is the PACOP aged care home with our fake residents, but I filtered that, as I mentioned, to what I wanted, the view I wanted. And now it's printed out this report that I could take to my team meeting and you could hand out to the team or show them electronically, and they can really plan the beginning of their care for that shift. It's, as you've said, Laura, it's solid gold.
Great evidence for quality improvement too at a service level, or evidencing use of resources or education. If you've been doing some education with your staff, amazing to see that translated into improvement in resident care. There's some really diverse benefits of how we can use these.
Max is right in the middle of developing an initial training guide for you called Getting PALCentre Right, and each of the, we love an acronym in health, each of the letters of RIGHT is just outlining the 5 key steps that you can immediately get started with PALCentre. So it's not overly burdensome, the training. You could watch 5 very brief, 3 to 4 minute videos, and there's 5 one-pager sheets about how to add a resident, how to gather an assessment, how to make a status. That's really important, and searching for residents, and then using the reports for care. So,
and I think too, it's probably really handy to point out for the homes that when they're implementing PALCentre and enrolling and registering their residents in, there's no set rules and expectations from us. We want it to be sustainable. We want it to be at a pace that's suitable for your staffing in your aged care home. So maybe you start just doing 1 or 2 residents a week at handover and put them in. Maybe you start doing them with the resident of the days. Maybe you do start to do it 1 every day of the week when you've been doing PACOP a bit longer. So it really is flexible. We don't want you to look at this and go, oh my goodness, I've got to put in 100 residents to even get started. You can absolutely start with a couple of residents that you're doing some assessments on and slowly add everybody in. Because if you do put 20 people in on one day, what's going to happen in 3 months?
They're all due in 3 months. That reminder is going to come up for 20 people. So we just want you to, yes, of course, you'll admit every brand new resident straight in here. But for your existing residents, you work out your own regime of gradually enrolling them or admitting them into PALCentre. Alana, you mentioned before how easy extractions are.
It's very easy.
Up the top here, you'll see these tabs, as I mentioned. You'll see one called the extract tab. Let's have a look at that. So, Alana, what happens here when a home is going to extract?
So you look at this screen and there looks like there's a lot going on here. But this is just allowing you to customize it if you ever need to customize it. We've actually put all the defaults in. So when you want to send the data to me, all you've got to do is hit the generate extract button on the bottom.
Just click that button.
That's it. That's it. Don't do anything else.
And I think Max is developing training as well, to like just a tip sheet that will take you through. But it is that simple. When your improvement facilitator like Laura calls you and says, okay, she'll also do it's almost time for data extracts. So it's only twice a year, but she'll help you do a data checkup to make sure everything's in tip-top shape, because quality in equals quality out, doesn't it? And so once she does that with you, it's a simple matter of clicking that extract and generating your extract. So that's as simple as it is, and you submit it to us. It goes through a secure portal.
So in fact, if you click on extract,
I will.
Because we've made it as simple as possible.
So it says standard, that means it's PACOP.
Just click on that one. It then comes up with 3 buttons. One of them will open the extract folder where your extracts are saved.
Okay.
And then the next one opens a submission platform to where you've got to put the data in. So you don't need to think about anything. It's just very, very simple. We've tried to make this as simple as possible, so it's completely seamless. So you're not wasting any time trying to work out how to do this. Once you've done it once or twice, you'll be able to do it in your sleep.
Amazing. Well, it's already telling me congratulations and I'm successful. So I already feel good about myself. But it is honestly that simple. There are no tricks involved with that. And I guess one other part, we're getting closer to the end, and if you've got any questions, please ask. But I just wanted to point you to the help. As I said, you are never left alone. So, well, there's actually two places. Let's go to the About tab. So the About tab is, I love it. It's personally very cool. First of all, it's got our PACOP data email. So that's specific questions about PalCentre or data or things like that. And Alana and Max are monitoring that email at all times. But also there's a link to our website. If you ever get, for those who are not tech savvy, if you ever get asked for the config file, this is your spot and you'll look really smart because you can find it straight away. But this, I really love this. If I click send support email, hopefully it's going to come up somewhere, or maybe, oh, there it is. It's coming up on my other screen, so I'll move it over. Okay, here we go. So you can see my email there, but I don't mind, you've all got my email. It immediately generates the email for you directly to Alana and to people like Max, the PACOP team, says what your aged care home is called, and also includes your config file and a log of any errors. So the IT people who can read this hieroglyphics can understand it and know exactly, and of course you can type your own message in here as well. But that saves you that worry as well. I'll just close that. And back to over here, back to the help button. If you click on the help button, it takes you to a specially designed support site. And as Lena mentioned, do you want to take us through the kind of things this site has for people?
So this site basically includes all the documentation around PalCentre. So there is as much information as you possibly would ever want. Probably start with the quick guides first, but if you want to dive into any more information here, so there's all the installation information that can go to your IT providers. They will understand all the things written in there. And then down the bottom, we've got a full user guide, which goes through every single function in PalCentre, everything you will possibly ever want to know. And if there is something missing, just let us know and we can add it in on top. So this is designed to be a one-stop shop for everything PalCentre.
And just make sure, as Alana mentioned, there's PalCentre for PACOP, and now we made our specially designed PalCentre for aged care. So click on stay with the PACOP logo here, and that is PalCentre in a nutshell. I hope that's given you an oversight of what we've done and what the benefits it has for your home. But as Alana said, don't dive too far into the complex user manual yet. Use these 5 steps that you're about for getting PalCentre right, and that will be absolutely sufficient for clinicians or anyone entering data into PalCentre to actually get it right, adding a resident right, adding a status right, doing assessments, and then using those assessments for good quality clinical care. So that's PalCentre in a nutshell. Please email either Alana's team on the PACOP-data email or us if you have any questions. Are there any questions from anyone?
Might just check the chat.
Okay, no questions yet. I'll put in the PACOP-data at uow.edu.au. That is the PACOP data team and their email for all things. Oh, we have a hand up. Nat, do you have a question?
Yeah. You might just have to pop it in the question and answer box or in the chat box, Nat. I'll just have a look.
What about that? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Once PalCentre is released next week or whenever it is, will all the participating sites be sent an email to let them know?
Yes. So PALCentre, we will be releasing it this Friday along with the initial training documents we mentioned about getting PALCentre right. So we have emails at the ready with brief instructions for IT staff in homes about, you know, those 4 basic requirements that Alana mentioned before. So the email will include those and a brief instruction document. But yes, the homes will be emailed to start the process of installing PALCentre. And I've got a question. Does that answer your question, Nat? I hope.
Yes.
And there's a question here. How is the login managed? Is it for individuals or a generic login? That's a great question. Alana, do you want to answer that one?
I'm happy to answer that one. So there is functionality to put in individual logins if that's what you would wish, or we can do a generic login. It will be partly your IT, what your IT would like to have done on site, and it'll be dependent on your IT policies, but there's actually functionality to do that either way. It's whatever works best for your site.
Yeah. How far are you with embedding PALCentre with Lee Care? We are working closely with Lee Care, aren't we? That was one of our sites that we are working very closely. We are ready. We've provided Lee Care with everything they need. The ball is in their court, so I would encourage you to chat with your Lee Care representatives at your home to see where they're up to with that. Helen's asking who provides technical support, and that is our PACOP team. That's Max and Alana at the moment, but also ASRI, where PACOP sits, the Australian Health Services Research Institute, has a large IT team that can also, if for some reason Alana and Max aren't available, can offer support as well. And that support is ongoing for PALCentre installation use in an ongoing way. Yeah. So that's non-stop, and that support, as Laura mentioned, can come from us as well through education workshops, but it's also online, it's videos, it's documentation, because we've learned that homes need a varied range. And is there a list of platforms that the program is compatible with so far?
We're still working with IT providers and IT vendors to get, but because this process is, unfortunately, if you've ever worked with IT providers, it's not a quick process, and it's not them, it's not us. It just takes a little while to get everything embedded correctly, making sure the data comes out correctly. And we do need to ensure that that works correctly, because if that doesn't work correctly to begin with, then it just snowballs into a bit of a difficult thing to then go and fix. So we are working with IT providers, but as of yet, there is not. PALCentre is the only platform that it's fully embedded in, ready to go.
And actually, because that process can be long. What a lot of homes are doing, and Alana's worked really hard to make sure this happened, but what a lot of homes are doing are installing PALCentre initially whilst they're waiting for their IT vendor to get the specs right and do the testing, which can take some time. But what Alana's done in the background is ensure that nothing is lost when that transition occurs. The data matches, doesn't it? Like that you've collected in PALCentre while you're waiting for your IT vendor, it will be able to be integrated. So no work is lost by using PALCentre while you're waiting for your IT vendor.
Yeah.
I hope that answers that question. Look, I'm conscious of time. Are there any final questions? Thank you so much for putting in your questions. It makes these sessions far more useful. Oh, wait, there might be. How would you advise to have, who would you advise to have access to PALCentre, as that is locally or across the organisation? Okay. Do you want to go with that one?
So that's a guy. I love these questions. I love these detailed questions. So again, this is something that initially we'll send you an email. We'll get talk to your IT provider. Again, we talked about 2 different types of databases, and I didn't want to get too much into it, but sometimes you have what's known as big SQL servers. Now, big SQL servers are the ones that are usually stored on a server database somewhere. And in that scenario, usually we would connect all your organization up to a single SQL server. If you don't have SQL servers, sometimes SQL Compact we're more likely to do locally. So again, it's more a conversation between the clinicians and how you guys work, the IT providers and us at PACOP. It doesn't take that long to work out. It's just more a bit of a technical conversation around, oh, what have you got? Okay, how about we do it this way? And then once we've done all that, we package up the install information and send it to you. So it's very easy for you guys to install rather than you having to try and muddle around and work all of that out.
And we're used to doing that because we are a national program having to work across almost 3,000 different organisations. It is about a conversation initially, Elena, isn't it? To work out what's right for your home and your setup and how you want to use palCentre, but that's very adaptable.
And in terms of local roles like at the site, I think it's going to be a discussion for the teams and for the staffing resources, and really thinking about what's the most sustainable way to enter the clinical information for those homes. What kind of resources do you already have? I know I'm working with some teams who are having multiple people trained up. They're going to have some admin staff. Some of their staff who are doing ACFI are going to be working on this as well. And so they've really, I guess, had a broad strategy, which is good because it kind of doesn't mean you're relying on one staff member. And if they take leave, when they come back, they're going to have 3 weeks worth of assessments. And in the meantime, you haven't been able to use those assessments to inform clinical care. So it is important to have a think about these things and how you're going to be using palCentre and what staff then need to see it, because if you want it to inform the RNs, well, the RNs need to be able to log in and find that information to begin with.
Yeah. I realise we've gone a little bit over time. I just want to, I guess, wrap this up by saying thanks for joining us and sticking with it. Thanks for your really valuable questions. It helps us understand where your thinking is at as far as palCentre goes. And look, we're really proud of this product. We've worked hard and to help you deliver good care and monitor care. Please, I put the email in the chat. Don't hesitate to email Max and Elena. They're waiting. Very excited to receive your email. If you have any questions about installation or indeed any of the ifs, you can contact them as well. Stay tuned and watch out for your emails this week. We will be notifying people.
And the link for the next morning tea talk should be live. So the 28th of February for PACOP and star ratings. We're going to dive in. So go and have a look and register if you'd like to receive the recording, or again, join us and ask some questions.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Bye.